Hello. Welcome. Today I'm going to stream a few things. So, first of all, my name is Andrew. I'm going to stream the process of engineering some project. Let's say I have a routine problem and I would like to automate it. And in order to do it, I need to modernize a few things I managed to do 6 years ago or so. In a few streams, I have defined the problem. I have defined the proposed solution, as well as requirements, architecture, etc. Previous stream, it was about building front end. Unfortunately, the plan I defined in here with dedicated API and workers as a separate stuff, it didn't work because of some updates in React. So in order to connect dependency, a library I wanted, I need to install to make so much effort so that it's no longer viable. So I decided to do a bit different thing. So previous stream was a mess. This one should not. I decided to include APIs inside of workers. So each worker will have some degree of API and it will be able to follow multicast DNS discovery to figure out who is nearby, what are other workers, what features they have, etc. So in Monday and Tuesday I was defining some dummy worker which has only one thing to do. Let me check if you can see the code. Let me keep it as is. So what have I done in here? By the way, there was a plan for today's stream. It's to make some page which will show list of workers. Maybe it's a status page or anything like this. But meanwhile, I have defined that worker with HTTP included. It's written on Golang. And let me share that thing. I will, yes, DNSSD/B. It's browsing DNSSD. And let me start the service. Make start. It should appear in DNSSD. I think it will take a while. I will need to understand why it's going so slow. Starting DNS server, yes. And it should also pass features which it has here, blocks. So I have also implemented a thing named block inside of here. So each worker can have multiple blocks inside, and these blocks determine what the worker is able to do. For now, I have defined interface of that block detector, block processor, and I have implemented, let's say, detection process here. So each block has its own detector, but those detectors, they are defined in the interface, so it's not a big deal to make your own detector. In this particular case, I check if this worker is able to do HTTP requests outside. Where was it? Yes, here. So I have block registry. It's per worker mapping, which has defined, I will define every block here, including some GPU and other stuff. But since this particular worker, it's laptop, which I think has a reference GPU, but it's quite small, it's possible to say that in detector itself, like here. So here, HTTP client should visit some URL, for example, this one. I will have to move it to config later, in order to understand if it's able to do requests to outside or not, Google, for example. The same will take care about GPU detection. There will be a separate function which will have its own closure. So that's what I have done today and in Monday. Let's say if it started correctly. Oh, here it is, by the way. It was added at 3520, and let's check when it was started. 34. 30. Yes, it takes about a minute. I will need to check why it's so slow, but at least it does what it does. It says, okay, I was there, then... Okay, it's fine. Right now, I need to figure out what flags does it have, because I think it should have availability, a lot, and something else. Let me find it. It should be in... Where that registry was. Here. Worker Go. So worker at its own startup figure out its makes checks for each blocks, and then it simply announces those blocks. Yes, block get ID and block itself. So if I start it, let me share the Firefox. It should contain it, yes. So here it is. It's slash blocks. Each worker will contain this endpoint of API, and it will report about each block, what it can do, name, description, and most important, it will contain JSON schema about validation input and output data for this particular block. It's not setting for pipeline, it's settings for block itself. For example, there is HTTP request. So there is body. We made commit post request. There are headers in here. Method, obviously, with some default value. I think we should also include head method query for URL itself, and obviously URL. There is only URL which is required. And what's interesting, since in documentation here, I have defined one step hiding Firefox here. That input, it's redundant and prompt, but output, it's a file with response. I would like to update the thing, but for now it's just draft worker. So let's keep it as is. What's important, it's just file. The format of that file will define it later. What else? That's all. So I have HTTP endpoint, which yields me a list of blocks. And today I will make a React page, which will visit any random worker, and it will extract, first of all, list of workers as well as list of their blocks and features. I think that's the plan for today. Yes, August 12th. Wait, it's 14th. I think I have mistaken. But okay, no problems. Let's move it to 14th. It shouldn't be complicated for now. Since I have this worker up and running and it constantly doing something, I might need to deal with that library, but here it is. We are in frontend right now. So it's time to switch to frontend. This is Golang project. I have TypeScript, and let's go. Let me resize VS Code to no to this state. I think would be fine. Resize prescaling. Okay. I think it was able to do it, but what's the point? Yes, now it's a bit better. As for Firefox, Firefox, hello. Yeah, let's keep it as is. So much problems. Okay, not a big deal. It should be 3000. Yeah, here it is. So let's go to TypeScript itself. Yes, that's better. I will need to create at least 2 pages. First page, it's about current status of worker, list of workers. And the second page, it's about blocks. Since each worker should be aware of whole topology, because it's multicast DNS, each worker must be aware of blocks in every other worker. So let's start at components. One of those folders will be named workers. Let's keep it as that. New file component. tsx. And let's make it, it cannot be compiled because it's considered a global script file. Okay, obviously, import. First of all, I must define params. Then I need to, it should be component of workers. Workers or workers start, but okay, let's make it workers. I don't need anything right now. Let's make it empty. Maybe we should also include some status online, offline, available now. Let's do it. Load. It should be float number. Then I have available string. It was boolean yes no in YAML, but make it right now, make it just string to figure out what's going on. And it was named text, but let's keep it empty. I need a list, nothing more. And that should return list of workers. And here I should import export default workers. That's good. So import workers from components, workers component, and in here I should simply say hello workers. Here is the list. Yes, good. So now I need to how to say it. So we have a list of workers. Also there is a per worker unique page. So for example, in this particular case, how do I understand if there are any workers online? Because this page, to be honest, it should be able to integrate into multicast itself. So this workers component must, at least in my vision, it must be able to understand what's going on in multicast, but it's a huge security breach. It should not be possible. That means, by that I mean, if someone with this HTML compiled file, this public index HTML, will come to your network, you will expose everything. Obviously, multicast DNS itself is not that safe as I would like to see it. So, the problem. I wouldn't call it the problem. A challenge. Yes, that would be correct name. Oh, now it's tough. Let's keep it body code. Where is that? Let me update. I think background like no. Nice. Come on, I remember there was some nice color. Let's call it. Yeah. Now it's dimmed, no problems to see it. 777. Let's Okay, no problems with that. What I would like to do is and our architecture, where was it? Here, shared storage. We'll do it a bit later. So API, it's a web server in the network itself, which should have connection to any worker directly. That's what I would like to do. So let me write it. We need entry point to workers, which will be React, will be front-end static page in local network. That's what I think it is, because that static page in local network might be exposed to internet via Nginx itself or SSH tunnel or private network VPN. It's not a big deal, but for now I need to pass some sort of settings here to determine what kind of worker, first of all, should be there. Some sort of API endpoint. But what's important, each worker has its own API, which is unified everywhere. The only difference it's, let me find its blocks or CMD worker itself. Health. Yes, it might not be healthy. And what's important, this page with discovery. Right now it simply appends some timestamps, but it should be able to execute discovery. Yes, there is mutex, which makes logs, so every time we visit this page, there won't be any data races. Workers, what's there? It's a list of strings which populated each second with some random timestamp. So in this particular case, what I will do, it's simply populated with address of fellow worker in this network. That's all. So let's go back to print. What I need to do right now is to pass some sort of address of this worker. So this component with workers and application itself should have config. That means to enter into the network, I need to pass any IP of known worker. That would be correct. So in this particular case, I must make new input. Let's define input. Maybe better. I props. Let's call it entry point or worker discovery entry point. Discovery entry. Discovery host. Or even better, discovery API, which is string. So in here, I don't remember, is it camel case? Let me ask Copilot. Discovery API and point. This one. And in this case, it's simply string. I think it won't. Let's name it as this. So it should yield an error. Yes. In this particular case, I should say some variable. This variable will be here. Let's call it. First of all, we need an input. Let's say it should be 880. And let's pass blocks. Maybe we don't need to pass anything. Endpoint discovery API. Let's make it discovery API. In this particular case, in here, it's also discovery API. That's good. Now I need to do a few things. First of all, we need to pass any input. Yeah, there is an input field. Let's make variable. Or maybe I should not do it because we have it here. I'll do it after the stream to make this page beautiful. For now, I need to figure out. We have workers. Also, I need to create another page. Let's call it another component. It's blocks from worker. I think so. When we have a list of workers, we should click it and blocks should appear. Let selected worker. Oh, it shouldn't be let. It should be. No. Let's call that variable selected worker. And by the way, that component, and I think we should, at least I must create new folder. Let's call it interfaces. And here, new file named worker. So in here, I will define the interface of a worker. Interface worker. It will has, let me check, there were a few things. Worker go, yeah, here it is. Host port, new worker, host port, and let's keep it as is host port. And in this particular case, there will be features. I work here feature. It will be an array. It's from DNS itself. So each worker, when it announces itself, I think it should be here. Where is it? Yeah. So when it advertises itself, it sends get.txt these fields, version, load, available, and blocks. So I called it txt because it's related to DNS itself, but in this interface, I'll call it iWorker features. Which should contain version, it's string, load, it's string for now, but it's float. Yes, it's float, let's call it number. And available, it's YAML boolean. Yes, it's boolean. Also, there are blocks. This is a thing responsible for each worker, and it might be the same everywhere. Let's call it iWorker block. iWorker feature. Info. That would be better. Worker info. Maybe status would be better because there are particular. If it's available and it's load, yes, it's possible that blocks would be dynamically calculated. For example, if there is hot swappable device inside, it's possible we simply pull it out. Worker says hello. This block is no longer available. Goodbye. Worker block. Interface, which should contain a few things. For now, it's a list of strings. Yes, it's a string. Let's call it string. String. But I don't like it. I mean, in here, blocks of this worker. Yes, it should be correct. A worker block, which contains ID name description. It was in file. Where was it? Here. ID name description. It always exists. It's always strings. And there is schema, which is object. Is it possible? Yes. That's all it has for now, but we'll extend this because here backend API, yeah, it's API. SRC projects workers. Let's pick any fetch URL. What did it have? ID name, image, description. ID name, description it has. It also has schema. Why was it having an image? I think it was something related to frontend in order to Show, let me check. It should have been here. So we have its old project. It should have an image with an example. Maybe I stopped there. But okay, let's proceed. I have defined a few interfaces. Export. Maybe I should say export. So I don't need this. Workers from yes. Use state null. I need to import it as well. Was it let? Yes, it was. Okay. In this case, I need new component named worker blocks, but it's a separate page. So yes, let's make it worker blocks. Maybe worker itself, because we'll show status. To be honest, I don't like this idea, but we have what we have. Let's copy it here and call it worker. Export default worker. In this particular case, I need to work with interfaces itself. From import interfaces and worker. I need to import everything. Worker, then worker status and worker block. It's fine because this page should accept iWorker only. What didn't it? Cannot find module. What? Okay, fine, it works. So in this case, I need to import it, import default. Okay, and I need to pass it worker. Was it with small? Okay. If how was it? Let's ask Copilot, because I'm not strong in TypeScript yet, as well as React. If selected worker, then line before below. Okay. Oh, nice. But to be honest, why is it so? What does it say? If selected worker, it's boolean, why it's... of course. It should not be boolean, it should be worker. A worker. And I must import it as well. Good. So right now I don't need no worker or no. Okay, it works. So from this stage, I need to implement workers discovery into Golang itself, and then this page will... Yes. So the idea is to update these workers, populate workers. So I go to my console. Here it is. Clear, yes. Let's split it. Projects, Golang, data parent from worker. Okay, that's good. I need to be able to start multiple workers on different ports. How to do it? Ahead config. That's step 1. Start multiple workers. Step 2. Make them detect each other. Where is my... Yeah. So I have make start. Here it is. So it starts worker. The problem, its config is a static file. Here, config YAML. And there are two ways how to do it. It's either started as is, because it has variable environment variable with config, or support one more thing named input argument, such as port. Maybe, what was that name? HTTP IP server port, as well as device port. For test purpose, I think it would be fine if I create second config and execute it like start multi. Say env config file config YAML. Then I execute this and config. Yes, it should be the same. Config 1, config 2. That's very bad, but I have what I have. Maybe there is better option. Yeah, there is better option. I would like to do it, let's say in here, there are two device ports. First of all, it's API port itself and device port. Let me find, there were yanks inside of YAML yanks. It was ampersand something. Okay, let's ask for Copilot. I think it was something like that port. And then I could use it here. HTTP API server port like this. But let's ask Copilot because I'm not sure. YAML yank HTTP port. Oh no, so much. No, it's already doing it wrong. No, sorry. Okay, let's go to Google. YAML link to another value. Oh, here it is. Ampersand. HTTP API. Yeah, it's here. I think it could be even less. Define reuse. They're defining arrays, but I see it as here. API. Let's do it as this. And then I should simply say it like this. So thank you. Let's check how it executes. Make file start. Nice. So make start. Well, let's start. Yes, it started in correct position. So if I would like to pass a port there, I should check. I should update Golang itself. But before that, I need to understand, where was it? Did I config? It works with yanking, that's awesome. But okay, let's do it. Make start multi. I don't want it. Start. Maybe I don't need it. In this case, I need only one thing. I need to pass reference in Golang itself. Here. What do? Every second I add new something in there, but I don't need to. every second each worker will ask for whoever there is to do something. In this case, let's make it 1 second. But each worker should have connection types mdns go here. Mdns go itself, it should be a class which takes config. In this particular case, I should say config, new config. It comes from types. Where is it? Here. Types. So we read config file. Then this worker itself, where is? Yeah, here. We declare there is mdns, and each second it should not append. It should simply say workers equal mdns discover workers. Yes, that would be correct. But there is no method right now, so let's create it. There was advertise itself. It simply sends advertisement, there is shutdown, but there is no function. Discover workers. No, thank you. That's absolutely useless code. It was HashiCorp and DNS. Let's check how. Let's do a lookup. Service provider also very simple. Good. So in my particular case, it will look like they said entries channel workers, list of workers. Maybe, but no, here. They say it's a channel of 4 entries. In my particular case, there are no 4 servers. I don't know how much there are, so let's make it. I wouldn't say 0. Yeah, unbuffered. So we iterate through each discovered entry, add it as worker. Why entry name? Is there anything else? Name, host, port. It's already here. This particular case, I don't need to add entry name. I need to add each entry. That would be correct. Channel of these entries. Let's call it. Oops. Yes, and we should return list of these entries. That would be, I think, correct. Params, service type, domain, timeout. So this is iteration through this channel. Yes, each time there is something, what's wrong here? It's pointer. So each time there is something in channel, we append it to the list. And that's all. Fortunately, it's not forever, because the channel should be closed. Where is it closing? There is no close. Okay. So let's say defer. And this channel close. That would be correct. In this case, I close it here. Nice. So don't trust Copilot. Now, MDNS query param. What is this? I need parameters. I need domain. There is something with timeout. Oh, here it is. Each worker. I think it's here. Yes. So this DNS discovery service contains something from config. So each time worker advertises itself, there is domain, there is protocol, and there is its name. So this code looks correct, type, domain, and there is no name. Is it correct? Service to look up. In this particular case, the service should be, where is config? Service name. So for bar TCP, it's not name, it would be service type. Yes, this is correct. Domain, it's local. Service type is HTTP, TCP, but I need only service name. I don't need anything. How to do it? Where is name? Let's check query param. Maybe we don't need it because there is filtration, additional filtration. So let's say check filter and service name here. So that's what we need to do. What they do next? They don't say query, they say lookup. What does that query do? It says okay. Set interface, okay. Is the same as query, however it use all default parameters. So let's keep it as query. And forgot to include it here. So what do I have? Workers. It won't be just a list of strings. It will be I utilize it here, workers. So it should be MSDN service entry. MDNS. I will include it into here. And that's it. So okay, that's good. We have an error, but failed to query MDNS. No road to host. Oh, that's good. That's better. That's beautiful. We have an error, and maybe that is an explanation why advertisement took so much time. So, where was it? File mdns go here, line 163 here. It happens each second, but let's make it 30 seconds discovery, just to check if it's transient feature. Okay, blocks workers. Was it workers? Where is it? Server workers discover. So I have a problem, and obviously I didn't have any tests for this function, but I had tests for other functions such as advertise. Let me check. Tests unit. Yes, I had tests that it advertises it correctly, that it detects blocked correct, then is available, and get text with features also correct. But I don't have test for discover workers. Also, I don't like endpoint name. Let's call it just workers without discover, and in here workers handler. Let's restart it. That's good. So we have a situation. Let's stop it and read that error correctly. So when we started, it responds closing client, then error happens. File to query multicast DNS, write UDP6, send to no road to host. I'm afraid it's because IPv6 is not supported, but in my local network it should be. Debug echo starting MDNS server. So what does it do? Let's bring it back. So I have HTTP server, which starts new worker after new worker. That's the problem, I think. So it says, okay, new worker, and that new worker has advertisement here. Where was it? Dev start. Yes, here. It makes an advertisement which I'm afraid new server. And in case if it's not able to advertise itself, it should simply die. It is important, but it says, okay. So I see that we have HTTP handler functions executed before advertisement. That's what I don't like. And yes, it's IPv4. What to do with it? First of all, check how this start works. New worker, defer shutdown, that's good. Upper road, worker start, that's the problem. Get detected blocks. And here is an issue. How can I just... So workers handler. When this worker handlers, there is function which is executed in populate workers, which says, okay, there is new MDNS. That is the problem. I found it. So worker on its own has a multicast DNS variable available. So in this case, I must say, okay, handler, you will work with some, I think, channel, or maybe the service itself. Worker get MDNS, that would be correct. Yes. So, where was it? Handler, hello handler. Yeah. So I must not do this, as well this. Maybe let's leave it as is. But in this particular case, I think it's in blocks. Yeah. So I need to copy paste a bit. I'll call it the handler itself. Then I don't need handler mutex. It's sync mutex. I don't need it. But let's leave it as is right now. Then it's not detected block since DNS, which is types DNS, and I think it's a pointer. Yes. What else? Each time someone enters into this handler, he should... something enters to this handler, it should be picking variable. It should not execute discovery. It should work with workers. So in this particular case, discovered workers, it's a result of multicast DNS query. Let's check what happens in discover workers. Is it? It yields list of... What's wrong? Worker has no get MDNS. Why? It's here. Start shutdown, new console, get port, get echo. Oh, definitely no. Func get MDNS. It should yield this service. Yes, that's correct. Now it has it. So I'm stuck with this function on its own. Takes too much time, like maybe second, maybe 2 seconds, which means I cannot afford to call it in this handler. This handler should call variable. So that variable must be populated by, I think, here. Let me check a few things. Let's call it get detect workers. So yes, let's do it, because to proceed working, I need to do it fast. To be honest, this discover worker should have sync once, and this thing should be separate code. It's like mutex once. I think it's in config. No, maybe in logger. Yes. So I have some sort of singleton pattern in here. This function will do the config parsing only once, so it's safe to call this function a lot of times. Maybe in this particular case, the discover workers also should be a part of singleton pattern. So discover workers. Let's reuse this code, because I don't like the idea. Sync. Yes. How to make it more underneath. Sync mutex. Once do. Okay, I'll do it later. For now, let it be as is, because it's important to make it working. I'm already overtiming for 12 minutes. Okay, it's fine. Where is Firefox? Hello. Workers, raw data. It's empty. But it's important to check if... Oh, no. Terminal has no selection code. No. Because I wanted to do that. And then SSD browse. So I have something. I have one worker. It was registered just... What is that? 204411 it was registered, and here 204423. So it takes 15-13 seconds, but it's not a big deal. And here it's still empty. I will need to fight it, because maybe I'll use this code later, because this page should yield me output of workers, and then I must simply pick one of those workers to check its blocks. So I think that's enough for now. Firefox, let's close it. So August 14th. I didn't do UI for MDNS services correctly. I didn't finish it. Let's call it 10% completion. Make shared storage. Oh no, completed 0%, but fortunately I have a plan to make it file transfer protocol FTP. Shared storage would be FTP, and each of these workers and their particular blocks, where is it? Worker tests blocks. So each block has its results. It has obviously its own JSON schema, such as query, etc. But what's important, it has out, which is string null format file. That means there is custom format checker. I think it's here. Yeah, file format checker. It should be something ending with these extensions. Obviously, I move it to config, but it's important that each worker block HTTP must have access to shared storage. So I will need to add Golang code, which will, I think it's, yes, here. Each worker has an interface for processing, and this in HTTP case processing, right now processing does nothing, but it will be simply that. And then save result to HTTP FTP file. And return 0 if there is no error. If there is an error, then this pipeline should the block itself should yield an error, say, okay, sorry, no authentication. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow for sure. And then Friday I have a stream. I'll show you what was done. And I must do FTP and I must make UI. This one. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. Bye.